saw you, you were smiling, and I was too. You look beautiful, just like you always do. I was thinking that we could be best friends. I was hoping that this would never end. You were skeptical, but I was confident. 'Cause you were all I ever saw since day one. Oh, you were all I ever saw since day one. a strong baritone echoes through the church. You thought this would help you, but it just made things worse. Hot dog and a Pepsi, $4 in change. You chew through it so swiftly that you don't taste a thing. And what is warm can be again. You're just like a fire blown out by the wind. And what is warm can be again. You're a whole book of matches, only one has been spent. So baby, wipe the still sad look off your face before your dreams start boarding that train. I know your pride has a miserable taste, but you best get to swallowing. We talk about justice, we talk about pain, and then we buy greeting cards. We don't know what to say. And time is a soldier, it just marches on. We've got to look toward the future, because the past is all gone. And what is warm can be again. You're just like a fire blown out by the wind. And what is warm can be again. You're a whole book of matches, only one has been spent. So baby, wipe the still sad look off your face before your dreams start boarding that train. I know your pride has a miserable taste, but you best get to swallowing. You gotta wrestle with your best self.
지금 못 갔겠지?
Not just to manifest in someone else. We might find a heaven in this dark hell. We might find a heaven in this dark hell, yeah. And what is warm can be again. You're just like a fire blown out by the wind. And what is warm can be again. You're a whole book of matches, only one has been spent. So baby, wipe the still sad look off your face before your dreams start boarding that train. I know your pride has a miserable taste, but you best get to swallowing.